Japanese people don't want a gun. They have a social contract with each other of trust and of mutual respect.
Now, Shinzo Abe, the former Prime Minister of Japan, was assassinated this morning. The suspect used a handgun to kill the 67-year-old, and the police have since revealed that there were several handmade weapons at the suspect's house. Well, on the line is Dr. Nancy Snow, who's Abe Fellow and Professor in Japan. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
It's obviously a tragic story and unprecedented in Japan, isn't it? Because there's an extremely low rate of gun crime there.
Yes, and not only is it very difficult to get a gun, but the Japanese people don't want a gun. They have a social contract with each other of trust and of mutual respect. This is what people notice when they go there as tourists, short-term visitors always notice the politeness. It's not unusual. A Japanese person will take you some distance to help you find your way. So there is this built-in sense of we can feel safe and secure around each other, even in packed subway cars or whatever it may be. So this is a jolt to the psyche of the Japanese people. It's a jolt to me, but I'm an American and I live in a different culture at times. I spend more and more time in Japan because of the safety and the security and the lack of a gun culture. Nevertheless, I think it will continue to stay safe, but we're talking here about a political assassination with a hand-fashioned sort of like explosive device that he made, and he had a clear target. This is also an individual who was in the self-defense forces, so he had a grievance that became very violent, and it has a multiplier effect that is so damaging. And in a free and open society, if you have a grievance, take it up in protest and nonviolent protest. That's what Japan stands for.
So a massive shock to the country. Give us a sense of the kind of figure Abe was and how transformative he was in the politics of that country.
Well, he's a giant. He's a giant for 21st century politics in Japan. He turned around the country in many respects because of his astute marketing of foreign policy with his Abenomics, these catchphrases that really did have regulatory dimensions. We all could understand the three arrows, even those of us who weren't really economists, but we understood what he was doing. He invited in more international students and tourists, and they came, and Japan was really rolling along. He's responsible for getting the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Unfortunately, he had to step down again due to his health, declining health in 2020. So he wasn't able to see through the postponed Olympics. However, recently at the Quad meeting in Tokyo, he was doing interviews, sit-down interviews. He was out there on the stump when he was assassinated, and he seemed to be in fine spirits. And you can see by the outpouring of messages from around the world, from leaders and from regular everyday people, that he really made a difference in lifting up the image and reputation of Japan. It was already quite a stellar reputation, but we will take months, if not years, to fully grasp what he did for Japan. I would also add he was the architect of the free and open Indo-Pacific language that we use so readily now. So I'm working on a paper about Japan's strategic communications and public diplomacy, and he's the centerpiece narrative thread of this paper, but it's a very difficult one to write now in his memory.
Of course. Well, my condolences to you. Dr. Nancy Snow, Abe Fellow, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.